Detective Pikachu came out 2 days ago, so here's a guide on how to play it on Yuzu emulator. So what you will need is the latest version of regular Yuzu, prod.keys, and the game itself. Now once you open up Yuzu, it will automatically update it, and once it's done updating, it will show you this error. Now don't worry, just press OK and press yes or no on this, whatever you want. I'm gonna click no. Now let's start with double clicking to add our game folder. So not the files, just the folder that the games are in. So yeah, double click here and find the folder where the game file's in. In my case, it's Yuzu Games. Now select the folder, and while you're at it, right click it and scan subfolders. Now as you can tell, nothing is showing up, and that's normal because we still have to add the prod keys. So what you're gonna do is go to File and then Open Yuzu folder. Now in this folder, you want to go to the keys folder, and this is where you paste your prod keys. Now make sure it's the latest prod keys, so mine is 15 KB, and if it just says prod, don't worry, that's fine, as long as the type says it's a keys file. Now click out of this window. First, I'm going to show you the settings which will give you better FPS. Go to Emulation and Configure. Now in this window, you don't have to do anything. If you want to change the look of Yuzu, go to UI, and here under Theme, you can check the one you want. If you have multiple people playing on the same PC, by the way, you can create profiles under the Profiles tab in System Settings. Now for Yuzu Online, check my other tutorial. I'm not going into detail on that one right now. But yeah, under System, in System Settings, keep the memory layout to 4 GB of DRAM. Now there is a 6 GB and 8 GB version, but you don't need those unless you have crazy high texture mods, and I don't recommend that because as it says here, it's unsafe. So it can crash your game and you lose your save or whatever. So don't touch any of this. Now under CPU settings, keep the accuracy on auto, and graphics, this is important. If you have a good graphics card, or at least anything better than Intel HD or AMD integrated graphics, make sure to use Vulkan instead of OpenGL, and make sure the right graphics card is applied. Now, if you do have Intel HD or integrated graphics from AMD, you might want to change this to CPU or CPU asynchronous. Try those. But for all the other people, use GPU decoding. Now, VSync, keep this on the one that is selected. This will keep your FPS constant, and it won't speed or slow down the game because it's fluctuating in FPS. So just keep the same. Now for NVDEC emulation, again, if you have Intel HD, you might want to change this to CPU video decoding to CPU video decoding, but for all other people, just keep it on default GPU video decoding. Now basically keep all of this on default. I'm going to choose 2x on the resolution because I know my PC can handle it, but I do recommend you try it first on 1x and then you can choose 2x later on. Now, the other ones can be experimental, so I wouldn't recommend those. Window adapting filter, keep it on nearest neighbor or bilinear, and anti-aliasing method, you can choose whichever you want, but keep it on none if you're having FPS issues. I'm going to choose SMAA. Now, under audio, this is where you can change your audio device on the second option here. And the first one, keep it on auto. You don't want to screw around with this. Input device, you can also change it to the right microphone for some games where you can actually use the microphone, and keep this on stereo. Now the volume slider is here as well, so if your game is too loud or too quiet, you can change it here from 0 to 200%. Now I'm gonna keep it on about 60%. There's also an option to mute the audio when it's in the background, so when you minimize Yuzu, it doesn't keep playing the Pokemon tunes, basically. Now another important tab is controls. Now for some Pokemon games you have to use the dual Joy-Cons, but for most games it's fine if you use the Pro Controller preset, which is what I am going to use because I'm using an Xbox One controller. Now this should already be set up, just make sure the input device is the right one, so in my case it's the Xbox One controller, and make sure console mode on the bottom is undocked. I am going to change the XYBA buttons so it matches my controller's buttons. This can be confusing, so keep it on default if you want. If you have a controller with motions in it, like a PS4 or PS5 controller, you can set that up down here. Now you can turn off or on vibration and configure it down here as well. I don't want to screw around with that right now. Now once you're all done here, you can press new, pick a name for your profile, and press OK. And now you can save that profile, and now we're basically done. So if you press OK, and close out Yuzu. Yes, this sounds weird, but trust me, close out Yuzu. Now open Yuzu again and watch the games appear. Now as you can see, here is Detective Pikachu Returns. I sadly can't show the gameplay without being crazy blurred. Now if this worked, please leave a like on the video and comment down below that it worked. And join my Discord server if you need any help or want to talk with me or others. And yeah, peace out guys. Peace.